Hello, everybody. So, in this episode, we're going to talk about becoming an educator in the beauty industry. What minimum requirements I think that you should probably have before you put yourself out there as an educator and a mentor, and what I think about where things are at currently. It's going to get a little spicy. I'm going to say some things, and you know, let's get into it. Welcome to the Cultivate Beauty podcast. I am your host, Kelly Torrance, and this is a show where we come together and have some honest conversations about what it's really like to work, grow, thrive, and survive in the beauty industry. My guests and topics are all people and things related to what's happening right now in our salons, behind the chair, in the treatment room, in our beauty schools, in our training facilities at a state board level and beyond. I'm going to be covering all scopes of beauty. So if you're ready to help me cultivate a fun-loving, passionate group of informed professionals, then please sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. All right, guys, it is the Cultivate Beauty podcast. I'm so happy you're here. I've got a little stuff to get off my chest this episode, guys. And, sometimes I think things just need to be said so that a conversation can start and build up around it. Now, listen, becoming an educator and a mentor, no matter what industry you're in, is a big responsibility. Now, specifically talking about the beauty industry, because that's what we're here for, I am seeing a lot of people putting themselves out as an educator and as a mentor who have no business doing so. Yeah, I said it. I'm seeing people on social media putting themselves out as an educator, and the way that they promote their classes is join me in my class. I'm only doing it on this day. Make sure you're a part of what I have to say. I'm going to show you how to make six figures and live this lifestyle. I'm going to pull up in my fancy new car with my designer handbag and designer clothes and all my jewelry. And I'm going to show you how to be just like me. Come again? What does that have to do with the beauty industry? Nothing. I feel like you're doing an injustice to the industry when that's how you promote your class. Because what are you really teaching people? I mean, you can be an amazing artist, amazing stylist, amazing beautician, but does that make you a good educator? Not always. I know some amazingly talented lash artists who cannot teach what they do. You have to be able to explain your process. Every bit of your process, you need to be able to articulate it in a way that lots of different brains can learn from, because not everybody learns the same way. You need to have a well thought out curriculum that people can follow along with. And that takes a lot of work. And I know plenty of artists whose brains don't work that way. They know how to do what they do, but they don't know how to explain it in a way that everybody can learn from. And that's okay. It just means that you probably are not meant to be an educator. And that's fine. That does not take away from your skill or your artistry or you as a professional at all. And I don't know where this came from, but there is this weird thing I'm seeing where brand new licensed professionals are rushing to become an educator. And I don't know if somebody out there is telling you that when you hit that 1 year mark, you need to start putting together an online class or an in-person class, or you need to write an ebook or a manual, or I don't know where that's coming from, but that needs to stop. We should not be rushing anyone into becoming an educator or a mentor if that's not where their heart truly lies. And you have to have a certain passion to be an educator in not only what you do, but the industry as a whole. You have to want to be an educator because you truly feel like you have value and knowledge to share with the next generation coming after you that's going to make the industry better. Because why else are you teaching if it's not to help people be better at what they're doing? I kind of feel, and I don't want to hurt feelings, but again, I'm going to say these things because I feel like it helps just get a conversation going. I personally feel that if you have not been offering a specific service for at least a year, solid, okay? A solid year continuously offering the service, that you should not be teaching it. And here's why. You might be amazing at it. And you might know how to teach someone how, let's say lash lift. You might know how to teach somebody how to do a lash lift. But do you have enough experience in offering a lash lift to hundreds, if not thousands, of different types of people to have that real life experience to teach from? We all know that products don't always work by the book. And if you don't have the real life experience in how to troubleshoot and problem solve, like what do you really have to teach somebody that they couldn't learn by reading it from a book or an instruction manual? A lot of the value that comes from teaching comes from real life experience of offering that service to tons of different types of people and being in lots of different situations and scenarios that you've had to troubleshoot and problem solve from. It's those situations that we learn those tips and tricks and what makes our service better, makes our service flow more efficiently, helps us get our timing down. It's those scenarios that we've had to troubleshoot and problem solve that we've come up with those that we can actually teach someone else. Otherwise, we're just doing things by the book, and that's something anybody can learn by reading an instruction manual. And in my opinion, if you haven't been doing a service at least a year, you don't have enough of being in those different situations to really teach that service. Again, it doesn't take away from how amazing of a technician or an artist or stylist you are in any way. I just feel like being able to call yourself an educator and a mentor is such a big responsibility, and that students deserve more from the people who are out there saying that they are educators. There are lots of amazing educators out there. My issue is with people claiming to be educators and mentors and in a position to be that authority who don't have the experience to back it up. And all they have to show for it is a fancy name brand bag or an expensive car. That just tells me that you're working and making money and you can buy those things. That doesn't tell me that you're good at what you do. That doesn't tell me that you're a good educator. That doesn't tell me that you're a dependable mentor. Like, you know what I mean? Like we need to require and expect and demand more from those who are promoting themselves as this flashy, rich, mega millionaire esthetician. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. They do exist. They are out there. They do exist. Now, as an educator, as a mentor, I can tell you it is so rewarding to see students who've taken your class who go off to do big, amazing things, open their own salons, become educators themselves, and continue teaching. And knowing that I played even the tiniest role in that is amazing. And it is so rewarding. But I could not have been a positive influence on any of my students if I didn't actually have something to teach them that they wouldn't have learned in a book on their own. The other thing is being able to do a live demonstration of the service you're teaching. I recently went to a class where the entire class was a slideshow PowerPoint presentation, and there was no actual live demonstrations. And I was flabbergasted. I was flabbergasted because the person leading this course has been an educator for a long time and is known internationally for what they do. And I was shocked that I get to their course and it was all a slideshow presentation. Disappointed, to say the least. Now, I don't know if I don't know. I have no explanation for why that is, other than that course was strictly to feed an ego. And that sucks to think about somebody you held to the high standard of being a mentor and an educator, and somebody that, I would have looked up to otherwise. To think that I went to this class just to feed their ego. Gross. Don't be that person. If you're going to teach a class, just, like, your students know if you're passionate about it. Your students are going to know if you're there because you really care about their future and their career. They're going to know if it's all about making you look and feel better about who you are and feed your ego and, look good for your Instagram account. So don't do it unless you are truly, honestly passionate about becoming an educator. So how do you know it's time to become an educator? Well, like I said, you've got that experience to back it up. You're confident in what you do. You're confident in your results. You know how to articulate what you're doing, why you're doing it that way. You're confident in how to troubleshoot when things don't go by the book. And you're ready for the responsibility of helping somebody level up their career. Then, my friend, it is time for you to become an educator. If you're not ready to hit all those things, then it's not time. And that doesn't mean it's not that you're never going to do it. It just means that maybe right now isn't it, and that there's still some learning and some growing to do. Rushing your career to what you would consider to be the next level is never a good idea, because that means you're taking shortcuts along the way, and that never works out. It will be like 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of a deal, and you will be fighting against yourself to finally hit that next goal and to maintain it and not to lose it. So don't take the shortcuts. Don't rush yourself to be anything else but who you are and where you are in this moment. Stay driven. Keep pushing. Think of what you want out of an educator and be that. And if you're not ready to be that, that is fine. That is okay. Totally fine. But maybe write down a list of things that you feel you need to do to hit that point, and work every single day to hit those little markers. If you have fallen into the false advertising of someone's course, I'm sorry. First off, I apologize. I too have fallen for it. There was a lash artist that I followed on YouTube, and super friendly, bubbly in her videos, and her content was really easy to follow along with. And she was offering a course that, seemed like it was going to be information in addition to what she was putting out on YouTube. And I was like, cool. Like, I like her style videos. I like the way she approaches her curriculum, at least in her YouTube videos. I'm going to invest and take this online course of hers and see what else she has to offer. Turns out her online video was essentially her YouTube videos collected into one curriculum. Throw in some special little clips of how to stretch. I'm not joking. I am not joking. And then you finish the class in like 3 hours, and then the emailed certificate of completion is sent to you. And I was just like, fooled me, got me, $600 gone for a 3-hour online class that I basically already watched all your YouTube videos and learned nothing new, other than that you're not super flexible in the way you stretch, and that you should probably maybe see a physical therapist. That's mean, but I was bitter after paying $600 for that. So forgive me. So if you're serious about becoming an educator, there's a couple of things that I would recommend you do to start off your journey into education and mentorship. And number one is write out your curriculum. Take as much time as you need to create a student manual and also create an instructor manual and really break down everything that you're teaching. Make sure that you can explain the hows and whys and put together a student manual that you yourself as a student would feel good about. Like if you showed up to a class and you were given a 10-page manual on a class that's supposed to take you 8 hours to complete, is that manual's 10 pages really all the information you need? Or do you think maybe it might be lacking some stuff, Put together something that you as the student would, enjoy reading back through when the class is done. Once you have your curriculum done, plan out how you would want your class to go. Literally write out your time. So 9 a.m. check-in, 10 a.m. pass out kits, 10:30 class introductions, 11 let me introduce myself and give my background. Like literally break down your day and all your little timestamps and how you want to break up your curriculum, and make sure that if you're trying to promote a one-day class, that you really can fit in your curriculum into one day. When I first put together my lash course, 2-day lash course with an option of doing a 3-day lash course, but I very quickly found that when I broke up my day by the times to teach my curriculum, man, did those times fill up really fast. I was like, I'm either talking too much, breaking things down too little, or I need more time to really teach what I want to teach. Put yourself out there as a one-day course if your style of training really requires it to be 2 days. Don't feel like you need to squish all your stuff into just a one-day course because that's what everybody else is doing. No, 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 no. Don't base how your class is put together off of another educator, because you don't know how much work they put into that. You don't know how much or how little information your students are actually getting. So focus on your curriculum, the information you want to make sure that your students really understand and leave with, because that is your name as an educator on the line when your students finish your class. What are they going to say about your course? So what was their takeaway? Did they like it? Did they not like it? If they didn't like it, what could you have done better? You really want to kind of think about all that as you're putting this together. So you got your time together. You figured out that it's going to take 2 days to teach all the things you want to teach. Now you got to kind of put together a student kit. And if you're not going to put together a student kit, can you put together a list of kit items with links to where students can go to purchase these things if they choose they want to? Do you want to have both options? Here's a student kit for this price, or the class can be a little bit less with a list of things that you can purchase on your own at some other time. Big, 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 big thing is the hands-on and live demonstration. Our industry is so hands-on that in my opinion, there needs to be a hand-on portion to your training. Ideally, hands-on with like a live human being, right? But I don't know, maybe you're teaching hair extensions and it's just as easy to learn application on a mannequin head as it is a real person. And so mannequin heads are fine, totally fine. But there's got to be a hands-on portion to your training. And you as the educator need to do a live demonstration. Yeah, it's cool to have video clips of you doing a service, but your students need to see you in action doing it in real time. Here's another gripe that I have. Educators who don't do live demonstrations of the entire service. Now, I know some services are a million years long. Let's say lash extensions, for example. A full lash set can take 2 hours or more. So I understand the instructor not wanting to do a full 2-hour live demonstration. There are ways to cut that down and to get all the important information in like a 20-minute demonstration. But the point is, you have to do a live demonstration in real time of you doing the important techniques and walking your students through that, because your students are missing out on seeing it from their instructor when you don't do that. And I think that maybe a problem is that educators don't want to come across as clumsy, or that they do make mistakes once in a while. But we shouldn't be afraid of that, because that's real life, and real life scenarios and situations happen. And it's all about how you as the educator correct that when something doesn't go according to plan. I don't know, maybe you're doing lash extensions and the model you're practicing on starts watering like crazy. Well, guess what? That's a real life scenario that your students are going to be in. And by you showing them what to do in that scenario, hey guys, this is real life. This is what's going to happen. Here's what I do to work around it, blah, 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 blah. Your students learn so much more from that than by just having a perfect thing play out perfectly every time, because that's not real life. That's not how it really goes. So don't be afraid of being put on the spot and having to troubleshoot in front of your students. It's more beneficial that way anyway. So please, 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 whatever course that you're putting together, make sure you're incorporating you doing a live demonstration and your students getting hands-on with their products in some capacity, in some form, so that you as the educator can watch them and be able to correct them when you see them holding their tweezers in a weird way, or maybe they're not applying the product in the best way they could be, or maybe they're not organizing their kit in the most effective way possible. Like, there's so many things that you as the educator miss out on helping your students with when you skip the hands-on portion and when you skip the live demo. So please, please incorporate those into your class. To offer a certificate or not to offer a certificate, that is the question. So listen up. I think it's great to offer a certificate because that helps your students show their future clients that they have taken the time to invest in themselves and in their education and have taken your class. So I highly recommend that you offer some type of certificate to your students for completing your course. Now, here's another fun, sticky little one to talk about. Should you require all of your students to be licensed before taking your course? Ooh, that's a tricky one. That's a tricky, tricky, tricky one. I think that you as an educator need to be comfortable whatever you decide. If you take on somebody who is unlicensed in your class, you need to be prepared to answer questions that are just kind of basic fundamental rules that a licensed person would know. For example, disinfecting your tools, how to disinfect, how to use quats, the hows and whys to keeping things clean between clients, not double dipping, not all of those small fundamental rules are going to be things that you have to incorporate in your curriculum, and be prepared to dive deep into those with people who are not licensed. So if you don't want to have to dive into that and you just want to stick to the service you're teaching, then I would say do not teach unlicensed professionals. Maybe beauty school students, who can prove that they've done like 50% of their hours, because then you know that they've gotten through the health and safety portion of their curriculum. Maybe you could do something like that. If you don't mind teaching the basics before getting into the service, then hey, that is for you to take on and decide if you want to take on. But a big thing to consider is your insurance. Will the insurance that you carry cover somebody unlicensed learning a service under you? So, do with that as you will. My goodness, I know we've ruffled some feathers with this content, but like I said, I think that these are conversations that we need to be having. And again, I'm not trying to say things to like be mean to anyone or talk down to anybody, But I'm also not afraid to start a conversation if I think that it's going to help our industry be better. And if I think that it's going to help us level up, then gosh darn it, I'm going to say it and we're going to talk about it. So there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for joining this podcast. Stay tuned. We have new shows dropping every Wednesday. Sometimes we'll slip one in on a Friday. You never know what's going to happen around here, but definitely Wednesdays. Definitely Wednesdays. Thanks for hanging out, guys. We'll see you in the next podcast.